Hello, welcome to Club IDIC. Today, we will be watching Mirror Mirror from Star Trek, the original series, and we will be discussing Impersonating Darkness. Please enjoy this meeting. Hi.
Hey.
How are you feeling?
Exhausted. Yeah, it's okay. I've been saving my voice for this all day. I haven't talked.
Well, I hope you don't mind the last minute change in episode, but this was a shocker.
I do not mind at all. I love this episode so much.
And Mirror Mirror, we get to see her do some pretty interesting things.
I love who she was as a person so much, you know. I think part of it is a generational thing. That generation of people were just raised to act better, you know. I think our age, well, you're younger than me, but I think a lot of this age group just they don't know how to they don't know how to treat people as much. I mean, sure there's some, but I'd say there's plenty, at least in my age, that act like absolute Karens. So
Yeah. I just can't believe it. Like when I read the news, I was like, oh, are people joking about this? If they're joking, this is not a very funny joke.
I know some people do that, but I was kind of offended by the number of people who were like, how do you know? How did you verify it? Well, where did you verify it? I can't find it anywhere else. And I was like, dang, I don't know. Yes. Do you think that the leaders of your Star Trek clubs would lie to you? I don't know.
Well, I'm so glad that I took the time, even though I didn't have very much money back then. I'm so glad I took the time and put all the money on my credit card to go to Star Trek Las Vegas and spend the money and get photo with her and meet her and take time out of my breaks as a volunteer and a worker to go talk to her.
I am so sad that I never got to meet her, but everyone that I know that has met her talk about what a sweet and kind person she was.
Oh, she was.
Oh, I believe it. Absolutely. You know, I've probably said this before, but George Takei, I got to spend time sitting with him waiting on my ride after one of the conventions. And I tend to believe that they were all nice. I remember. Oh, hey Anthony, how are
Oh,
you?
Teresa,
Hi,
how you
Anthony.
doing?
Hanging in there.
Oh man, I'm a little upset right now.
About this
me.
or something else?
No, it has nothing to do with Nichelle Nichols. No, it's yesterday me having to break up a fight between two people.
Oh, you break
You
up.
know how I break up fights between two people? I squirt them with a water hose.
Okay. You fought with a water hose. I had to separate two people going at it.
Yeah, I have too. I just happen to use the water hose to separate them.
Well,
I'm like,
sorry.
really? Why do people always gotta, especially around here? Why in the world do people gotta act like freaking high schoolers? And I had to separate people that's like 20, 30 years old.
Because people feel they can. People feel they can act that way.
Oh, they better cut it out. Excuse me. Because I swear, Heather, Teresa County, next time I have these cosplay people going at it, fighting each other, I'm calling the police.
At a cosplay?
Oh
Wow.
Lord, I mean, come on, have respect for the cosplay.
Like I say, most half these people act like they're still in high school.
Then is that, oh yeah, that really sucks.
Yeah. So me, I'm still trying to deal with the repercussions of yesterday's dispute.
I missed the beginning of this. What is this? Who is this a dispute between?
Two of these cosplay people.
None of us.
None of us? Good.
No, not you guys, not you guys.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, I'm not upset because of Nichelle Nichols, which is pretty sad in and of itself.
Is this an online dispute? Or I
Yeah.
mean, one you know about online, or is it
Yeah.
in person for you?
No, people I knew online because I've had to break up fights in the real world and online. Makes me want to feel like I have to go back to being a damn prison guard again.
You were a prison guard.
No, actually, I was working in a psychiatric
So-
facility in which I had to act like a prison guard.
You worked at a psych facility? Oh, that's amusing. I can't picture it, but.
And I don't know why you're laughing, Heather. I'm not.
Because I
I'm
can't
not
picture you
laughing
working in
at you.
so rough a place. You're
I
too
can,
sweet
because I
natured.
think you've got the voice to calm people down, I think.
Oh, is that your theory?
Yes. Wouldn't you gals agree with that he's got a voice that's calming? I think he does.
He does. He's got a New York trill.
Okay.
And he'll call it flirting, but he can call whatever he wants.
How have you three been? Actually, I kind of know how Grace is going. I'm praying for you still.
Thank you.
Oh,
There's never too many things, ever. But I have some good news. I made myself a TOS costume many years ago. And it got stolen. But I ordered a new one. And so it's here. And
Teresa, maybe
really nice.
deactivate your video because we're having a lot of trouble hearing you.
Oh,
The bandwidth may be an issue.
Yes, that's what I keep saying. Teresa's bandwidth is too low.
mm,
Oh boy. And Teresa has left the group chat.
Oh, our internet's probably not that good.
There she is.
is that any better?
Not really.
I think, yeah. No, let me not go there. Let me not go there.
I thought maybe I just had too many windows open. Right, I'll mute it for now.
It'll probably help if you turn your video off and just have sound if you want to talk. Just an idea.
How's that?
That's better, actually.
Cool. I
Yeah,
don't
we
like
can.
seeing myself in the video anyway. But Yeah, I'll be getting my new costume soon, and I am so excited.
It's amazing. And then maybe by spring, you'll be strong enough to go to conventions and show it off.
I would love to, but I don't know. They're starting, so we're gonna be doing 2 different types of chemo and radiation starting Tuesday.
Mm. All right, everyone, pray for Teresa.
I just can't seem to drink enough water, so it burns the chemo pill burns the back of my throat. Oh, but I am just so excited just to cut down some of the problems, because the other chemo pill felt like lead bullets dropping in my stomach. So this one isn't quite so bad. I just have to learn to drink more water.
Mm.
I lost 6.5 pounds
And not in
between
a good way.
Wednesday and Friday, and not in a good way, because I drank just enough water to get the pills down, and that was it. And my doctor was not pleased with the weight loss. He said that I've lost too much weight.
Mm.
But
Not good.
you know, there was a time I would have said that I would give anything to lose that much weight, and now I realize that's not always a good thing.
No. But you know what is a good thing? A
What's
good
that?
thing is that we get to sit here and appreciate you and get to know you and hear everything that's good about you. So we're glad that you're here with us.
I am so glad to meet people who enjoy and appreciate Star Trek and the whole idea of IDIC.
Yes.
It means a lot to me to be able to have people that I can have this conversation with. And I like to talk, so
And a big part of IDIC, an inspirational part of IDIC, and the hallmark part of IDIC was Nichelle. And she passed away yesterday, and she's at peace because she was battling dementia and she had a lot of problems. She was on her farewell tour, I believe it was last year.
yes.
And she was a lovely lady. And I picked Mirror because she does a lot of interesting things in it.
But
Excuse me.
when I read her biography, and I read a lot of their biographies, but it just really impressed me. I'm not sure when it was written, but it really impressed me the way she talked about her coworkers. Sorry, dropped a pill. I gotta take something for my anxiety.
If you have Paramount Plus, or there's one other spot I saw online today, except I can't remember what it was, where then you can watch a documentary about her called
Woman in Motion.
Yeah, and it's specifically about how she was recruited by NASA to help them recruit a more diverse astronaut class. It's super interesting, and she did a whole bunch. I mean, it could seem, having an agency recruit a celebrity could sound like she stood in a studio and did a few PSAs. That's not it. She traveled the country. She gave speeches. She did a lot.
Yeah, it was a rather interesting documentary because I remember that In the documentary, it talked about how a lot of colleges wouldn't let her come speak on their campuses
Ugh.
because of the times.
Mhm.
I went and saw it at a little virtual gathering done by Sci-Fi Sisters. So, but it was a very good documentary.
Well, like I was telling, I think I was telling somebody, maybe you, Heather, earlier. I'm glad I got to meet her in person.
Yeah. Yeah, I met her twice in person. What's your story of it? Do you remember?
Well, I'm not going to be going into my room to look through the huge folder of autographs I have. But I did meet Nichelle at a convention like about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Right? I don't know. Did I take a selfie with her? Actually, I did take a selfie with her. I think it's in my Facebook somewhere. And I have the autograph. So I'm trying to think which original cast members did I meet. I met Nichelle, obviously, before she passed away. So obviously I'm not giving up that autograph. I got James Doohan, Majel Barrett, Grace Lee Whitney. I didn't get to meet Leonard or DeForest, but they died before I even had the chance.
I always wanted to meet DeForest Kelly because I know why his nickname was Bones, but my dad, Jim, had a cat nicknamed Bones. And I thought that was just the coolest thing.
Dang it, Jim, I'm a cat, not a doctor.
Exactly. Hey. But he had that cowboy doctor mentality on the show. He did such a good job with it. But he was in westerns too. So I think that's just awesome. Because there's towns here in Oklahoma where they are very much reminiscent of the cowboy Oklahoma. So, and the National Cowboy Hall of Fame has like this whole bar set up, just like the old fashioned saloons from shows like Gunsmoke and The Rifleman. I love those.
Yeah, and this is actually this episode is actually one of the more popular TOS episodes.
There's so many. I mean, I can't think of one I didn't like. How about that?
And this is definitely this whole topic, impersonating darkness. This is for very young, very semi-naive. I'm saying semi-naive because they are naive in this situation. They're suddenly beamed into this strange universe. As you can see on Kirk's face when they suddenly materialize in this strange room, the first thing they see is Spock with a goatee just staring at them intently, and Kirk freezes. Wait, this isn't my Spock. Who is this Spock?
But they had to figure everything out.
Well, to give the Mirror Universe credit, they did visit it once or twice in Deep Space Nine.
They visited it. Yeah, that's true. But before we get too deep, how many of you have seen it?
What, Mirror Mirror?
Yeah.
I have, and like I got the Paramount Plus on standby.
Same. I honestly can't remember whether I've seen it before, though it's possible.
Because I could probably rattle off a lot of Star Trek, but I need to be mindful of those who don't remember it or who haven't seen it. So I can't be crazy rattling off facts like a computer. I have to be considerate.
You got
Well, just so
20
you don't
years
rattle
sitting
off
under that
spoilers.
hair.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I can't do that, but they appear in this strange universe and they realize they're not in their universe. So they have to just pause and take in the situation, and they have to impersonate darkness because they realize they're in a dark situation. And if they don't impersonate darkness, they could end up dead or worse.
Very true. And they did not know exactly what was going to happen. So, yeah. But
So-
Connie, I think you'll remember it after you see a few minutes.
Yeah.
Because it's a very memorable
There you
one
go.
of those. I don't
Yep.
know.
And you know, that's probably, does anybody have anything else to say?
Before we
Not really.
dive in, I
Yeah,
guess we
I
should
do have-
dive in, then we have more stuff to go over.
And I do have a question for you all to consider. This is a little bit of an assignment. I love assignments.
Where do
So,
babies come from?
well, it's a captain's prerogative, so hush up on this. If you were suddenly thrust into a universe that was not your own, a mirror universe, and you had to fit in, how would you go about it?
Or take
First
on
of
a
all,
little different-
consider your mirror universe and consider how would you fit in if you were thrust into a mirror universe.
Is that
First-
something you want us to answer right now or after? we've
After,
seen
this
it?
is something to consider as you're watching this. This is like
Got
a
it.
homework
That's why I
question.
said, ask us after.
No, because I want you to think about it as you watch.
All right.
But anyway, what is your mirror universe, and how would you fit in to your mirror universe if you were thrust into it without warning? How would you avoid getting killed? How would you avoid getting killed or worse? Like, and what's your adaptation strategy? And I know that's a multi-pronged question, but you know, that's always fun hearing your guys' answers because you guys make the most creative things out of nothing at all. And I love that about you guys. You guys are the most creative bunch I've ever seen. And Connie's already giggling.
No, I'm just smiling. That's very sweet. And I'm not sure, I live up to that, but thank you.
Take the compliment.
Yes.
All
That's
right,
why I wasn't
yes.
saying anything. Or maybe I was about to, but then, you said something, so I responded.
Yeah.
Either way.
Okay,
Back and
yeah,
forth, left and
so-
right.
I think all that's come to the meeting are going to come to the meeting, so we should jump to it. And
Okay. Just remember, I got regular Paramount Plus with the commercials.
we
So it'll
shall
take me
wait.
like 5-10 extra minutes.
Yes,
I'll
we
type
shall-
it on
It usually takes me longer too, so it's good that it takes you longer. For my perspective at least.
Okay.
yes, if
Yeah, and I'm
anybody-
gonna have a Walmart delivery, so I'll be jumping up somewhere during that too. So
Okay.
Okay.
we'll
If
see.
anybody has any questions or comments, if you want to chat in the chat, go ahead. That's awesome. Anyway, see you after.
All righty.
So I am eager to hear the answers to my question.
Well, the first thing I do is look around, say, where the hell am I? And me, obviously, the first I do is get the heck out of there.
Well,
I'm not
no,
gonna
the
be in a
first,
dimension where people murder each other. I'm not gonna be in a dimension, right? Where the world is ruled by cats.
yeah, but what is your mirror universe, by the way? What is it? Pick it. You get to pick it.
What where everybody in New York's but it's like I don't even know how to say this. My mirror universe? Well, it's probably, I don't know, living in the Soviet Union for me. That's mirror universe enough.
Okay. So, okay, you're thrust into that mirror universe. How are you going to adapt and how are you going to make it so you don't get caught and subject to things like
Well, they
being
probably
thrown
kill me
into the
anyway,
brig,
so
whatever?
even I will take the reality alternate universe where cats control us.
Okay.
All I would have to do is pet them and give them food, and I would still be alive.
Okay.
The commie realm, I'm a dead man.
Okay.
For those who own cats in this universe, isn't what you said kind of the same?
Except in my alternate universe, they talk. Not further back, Connie, feed us fish, or we execute you.
Okay.
Well, you asked.
I did ask. That's a very creative answer. Connie,
Yes.
what answer do you have?
Well, can you ask me again in a few minutes? Make it Teresa's turn. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, Teresa.
Well, I wouldn't survive Nazi either. I slip up and say one Jewish word and yikes.
No.
It's
The
over for me.
question was, what would your mirror universe be and how would you survive it? What would you do to survive it?
Huh. I would try to fit in as soon as possible. And then I would try to find somebody who could get me back.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I mean, unless my alternate universe could be Deep Space Nine.
And the crazy thing, there are mirror episodes on DS9.
Yes.
Is there
I
a
know.
series?
I don't want to go. I don't want to go to evil Kira's DS9.
We'll get to those in October.
Yes. And so, Teresa, let me throw this at you. Because Heather and Connie already spoke on this. What if you went to a mirror universe where cats were the supreme overlords and the humans were their slaves?
I thought they already were.
That's what I said.
It's the same thing.
I was like, how is that different? For those who own cats, I'm not into cats and I don't have one. If I had a pet, it'd be a dog. But I know enough about what people who are into cats say to feel like, yeah, same.
Well, I've had lots of cats. I've had rabbits. I've had dogs. First, to me, the most bossy is the rabbit, even though they don't vocalize really, unless they're in danger. But they are bossy and they let you know what they want.
Well, like I said, I'll take the cat universe over one where people literally kill their way to the top.
That is the universe that Kirk and Scotty and McCoy found themselves in, and they were frightened. But they didn't lose their heads. They were confused, but they analyzed the situation and did their best to adapt to it.
Well, there's the Starfleet training.
It's always important
It's
when faced with a new uncertain situation to analyze what's going on and not just jump in impulsively, because you might create some chaos.
So is it my turn?
Yes, I am very intrigued to hear your answer.
Okay, well, fair warning that this answer is true and has the potential to be depressing. But
who cares? Share it.
But I would hope that, okay, I'm going to say I'm going to answer it as if you had asked, and I know you didn't, so I'm taking a liberty. That
Liberty's away.
whether or what my counterpart would be like, not my mirror universe, but what my counterpart would be like.
Okay, go ahead.
And I just hope that she would have had a much more free life, and one in which her dreams were able to come true, at least at a much younger age. So I'm going to leave it at that for now.
Okay. Well, that sounds very creative. You should write a story on it and just keep it for yourself and in a book somewhere, and maybe publish it under a pseudonym. Make some money because the economy sucks.
I'm doing well to do my actual job right now.
Oh, I
even though-
didn't say you weren't, but books are.
Oh,
amazing.
no. What I mean is it takes more effort than one would think to sit at a computer all day and focus. And I get paid, not extravagantly, but well enough right now. So I don't think I have the bandwidth to do something that's a lot like my job. Actually, writing is a lot like my job in my off time. So maybe some other time.
Oh yeah, emotional bandwidth is something that you got to kind of budget out throughout your days and your weeks and your work
and physical bandwidth, which I have very little of these days. But
people's emotional and physical bandwidth, that's an interesting thing. And I'm sure this unexpected away mission took all their emotional bandwidth. And yes, I did a segue.
So good. And I can also answer the other question, the question that you asked us to think about during the episode, which
I love that.
I think I would try to do very similar to what they did. Observe like really fast, like, oh, what's happening? Where am I? And pick up cues from what you do see. I thought it was interesting how, okay, so I'm going to talk about discovery a bit. Would anybody have a problem?
No.
No.
Okay. So in the mirror universe in Discovery, if you don't do this business, like instantaneously back to whoever did it, you're like dead. But and I know obviously the Discovery wasn't created yet. I get all that, but it's just kind of interesting to compare the two, because Kirk and company didn't do it. In fact, I didn't see the others do it at all besides Kirk. So Kirk did it, but only after a few times of others doing it to him did he go, oh, I should maybe do this so that they don't think I'm, something's wrong. But to go back to the point, I think that's the drill. You just try to, at least at first, so that, again, they don't think, what the hell's wrong with that person? You just try to pick up cues and mirror what you're seeing. Mirror. In order to kind of get along, and then get your wits about you, and then you can go from there wherever you might want to go after that. But
well, Kirk was already screwing up as soon as he said, oh, I want to wait to kill the Hulkins. I want to
sure
12 hours. And the Spock could immediately tell that this was not his Kirk just by Kirk's demeanor. As soon as he stepped off the pad, Spock could just immediately tell.
Oh, you think so? Because
yes,
did he start giving Kirk a hard time right in the transporter room?
Well, it wasn't so much a hard time, but Kirk's hesitation and calm demeanor, Spock could just tell, this is not my Kirk. I'm just going to watch him and wait and see what this Kirk does, and just sort of keep an eye on him to make sure that this Kirk does not get killed.
Well, if you don't mind my saying so, you're reading that in. We didn't have dialogue to support that, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just thinking aloud.
Well, I do read that in. My mom's always told me I can read things from people based on nonverbal cues. I've been very good at it ever since I was a child.
Well, that's cool. I am kind of the opposite. I'm much better than I used to be on this front, but for the majority of my life, it's been like just as a matter of my personality, I think, and life experiences. I'm very what the Myers-Briggs personality test would call highly sensory oriented. In other words, the five senses. So if something doesn't come to me through my five senses, in other words, if it's not obvious, I don't pick up on it well. I don't read hidden meanings very well. I don't read between the lines, as the saying goes, too terribly well. So I'm very literal, very straightforward, and sometimes that's been a good thing, and sometimes it's not. But I digress.
Well, I'm just saying, based on the limited exposure we got to the mirror Kirk, he's very impulsive, very quick to speak, very quick to anger, and we really didn't, and Spock could tell immediately that the Kirk that was in his universe was not the right Kirk, just based on Kirk's responses as soon as he got off the pad.
Well, the brief glimpse we got of the mirror Kirk back in the Prime universe, he was pretty spouting off too. So in other words, Kirk's personality is Kirk's personality in both universes, I think, which I find funny on the basis of how Shatner gets made fun of for his acting. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Well, actually, I don't fully know what you mean, but I'm sure you'd love to tell us.
Well, I'm trying to think of a good example. So, like, let's say the sentence or the question is, what is that thing over there? A typical Shatner read of that line would be, what is that thing over there? And people kind of make fun of that, I think. I've seen that.
Well, yeah, because you're supposed to emphasize the verb.
I've never heard that.
Sentence.
Say that again.
You're supposed to emphasize the verb in that sentence.
What is that thing over there?
No, thing is the verb.
No, thing's a noun. I'm sorry, I'm an English major.
All right, sorry. Yeah, it is.
When
What is that thing? Right, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the.
Thank God we find someone.
Sorry, what's
Because
that?
it takes me a good
No, I
almost
know, I
10
know.
minutes.
Hey,
No.
Teresa.
My friend, he
Teresa,
delivered to you last time.
Teresa, could you
Murtada,
mute?
if you know him.
There she did. Thank you.
No, I muted her.
Okay.
But
Well, it's
Yeah,
just the
sorry.
way that Shatner, at least in his playing Kirk, tends to break up his sentences and put emphasis. Like I said, that gets made fun of a bit.
well, that's true, because not every line is meant to be overemphasized.
And I've even heard it postulated that he was a theater actor before he was a TV actor, or at least at some point was a theater actor. And so it was kind of like he had to know he was overacting. I don't know.
Yeah, like Shakespeare. Shakespeare's a good thing to learn if you're wanting to break into Star Trek.
Well, there's a lot of theater done that
Sorry
isn't
about
Shakespeare.
that.
Did he do Shakespeare in his previous?
Well, no, I did. And I can say that Shakespeare's a good thing because you learn that there's different things that you emphasize in Shakespeare and different things that you just say regularly.
Oh, that's cool.
Because like I had this director who actually sat with me and taught me how to say certain lines because I had never done Shakespeare before, working with this virtual theater company. And he's like, okay, you say certain things this way, and then you emphasize this, but you don't emphasize everything. Yeah, and so another highlight of this is like the whole, melding with Spock and McCoy. It's, as far as I know, the first time, because the second time is in the Wrath of Khan. Maybe this meld is why it was so easy for Spock to meld with Bones in the Wrath of Khan. Did you think of that?
I did not, but I'm not the kind who remembers the Wrath of Khan as in as detailed a fashion as some people. So I've seen it, but it's been a really long time
Oh,
ago.
good Lord, I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get it in there then.
Get it in where?
On
Oh,
the-
kind of like what you did with your first contact screening the other month.
Uh-huh. Like people just, I know that it's great that new Trek is such a thing, but people are so out of touch with old Trek, and that we must not forget old Trek.
Like I
Well-
said, I've seen it. It's just been a long time.
Yeah.
I
Crazy
think-
thing is, right? I'll say this, number one, the reason you're lucky I'm able to be here tonight because I have a temporary reprieve from my jury duty. That's why you haven't seen me in the last week or so.
Well, it's good you're here because you can talk older Trek with us, because you've noticed that we really haven't focused a lot on new Trek. Because, these classic moments, we've got to remember that they exist, and we've
Right.
got to remember that these actors exist, especially now that they're all passing away and getting older, and we've got to remember. Because these classic moments, like, Spock and Bones having these classic mind meld moments, Bones and Scotty working together, like, this is a parallel to Star Trek 4, when Bones pretended to be Scotty's assistant.
I've come millions of miles, thousands of miles.
Because,
And don't
what-
bury yourself in the park.
because Bones was Scotty's assistant in this as well. So, and the whole action with Uhura and Sulu, that was interesting as well. Nichelle's acting, her character, Uhura, having to seduce Sulu as a distraction.
I applaud.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, best scene in the episode, in my personal opinion.
And she
Just
really
because
does-
it's
yeah,
so much fun. Go ahead.
she really doesn't get a lot of screen time in TOS, but I picked this episode because it really is a defining moment of her character. You get to see a different side of her character in this. So I wanted to highlight that.
Yeah. What did you call this impersonating darkness, this meeting, essentially?
Yes.
I kind of where that takes my brain, and maybe this is what you were talking about, I don't know, is once in a while I feel like I want to try my hand at acting, and I have a story of how I did that once, which I will tell later. Because oh my God, I want so much to be able to yell at people and not have negative consequences flow from it, or and maybe get paid for it if it's a paid gig. Because, in real life, you have to be so polite all the time. And at least if you're not going to be a jerk. And I'm not saying I want to become a jerk. What I'm saying is I have enough bottled up anger, if I'm honest, that I don't think it would be all that difficult for me to play a role where somebody gets to yell. It wouldn't require a whole ton of actual acting. So now I will tell you the story of how I tried my hand at acting once. I was in a community chorus. This is about 20 plus years ago. Yeah, plus for sure. And This community chorus did a different type of show each quarter, except the summer they did 3 quarters out of the year where they met and then performed a show at the end of the quarter. And one of the quarters I was in this chorus, they put on this show that was songs and a little bit of dialogue from like 6 Broadway shows. It was like a 2.5 hour show. It was really long. And I tried out, okay, fair warning. I tried, or note, I thought I was trying out just to sing a solo. Turns out I was trying out for a role, but I didn't know that. Until after, we got into rehearsals, and I have to not only sing, but I had to act a little bit too. Had never done it before in my life. And I got to tell you what, through that experience, my respect for actors shot through the roof, because it's a lot harder to do what they do than it looks. The not so fun note in that experience was the time that we were rehearsing and there was a break, and I was on one side of this kind of large rehearsal room we were in, just like sitting there minding my own business or whatever. And I could hear from across the room, I don't know if the whole room heard it, but I could hear it, the director speaking to another actor in the show. And she was saying, it's so nice to have actors who know what to do. And she had to tell me a lot of things to not do and do differently. And to her credit, she wasn't saying that to my face. But I felt like she was talking about me. And for better or worse, I got it in my head, oh, I suck at acting. And for the longest time, I thought, I'm not an actor. This is clearly not something I can do, blah, blah, blah. And then I told that story to a friend who has done some acting, and she was like, that wasn't cool. And you could probably do it better than you think you can, or something like that. I forget exactly how she put it, but in any case, yeah, it's not easy. That's for sure.
No, it's not, but you try, as long as you keep trying and never give up, you'll continue to get better and better and better. And the important thing is that every effort makes you stronger. And you can cherish the experience that you had. And that's kind of similar to this, because I'm sure that the experience was hard for them, but I'm sure looking back that they learned something from it. And I'm sure that the mirror Spock and Marlena, and I don't know how canon this is. I think it's canon because you look at later down the line, I think the mirror Spock cherished what was said to him by the Prime Kirk, because he actually used that advice to try and improve the mirror universe. Of course, he wrecked it, given what happens to humans in the future, but he had listened to the advice. He tried to use it for good.
What episode or movie are you referring to there where you see that portrayed?
Well, given what happens to humans by the time of the mirror universe in Deep Space Nine,
Oh, I see.
Yes, we learn how.
But when you say
married Marlena Moreau and eventually became emperor, but humans became enslaved by the Klingons and Cardassians and races of the like.
No, I mean the part where Spock used the advice to try to improve the mirror universe.
Oh, it's on Memory Alpha.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you want to hit before I leave? Because remember, Heather, I'm 2 time zones ahead of you. So for me, it's 8:45.
Yes, but
Me too.
That's just me being a geek and assimilating information faster than any normal individual would. I'm sort of not normal when it comes to assimilating apocryphas.
So let me throw this at you.
It was said in Deep Space Nine by the mirror image Kira that one time your world came to mine and affected it because your Captain Kirk convinced our Spock to make changes.
Okay, thank you. That's exactly what I was
And-
looking for. Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't quite
I don't
understand
remember
the
the
question.
name.
It's okay. Go on, Teresa.
I don't remember the name of the episode.
That's okay.
But it was the first. It was the first.
First time they went to the mirror.
Was that Kira and Bashir?
First time for you. Well, then it wasn't the first time.
Yeah, so as
That's
I was
all
gonna
right.
say,
It was Cisco. She was talking to Cisco.
I think Anthony wants to say something.
yes,
Sorry.
before I leave,
Oh,
right? What do you make of this? People who go to Star Trek conventions dressed up as Mirror Universe Kirk and or Mirror people.
do you realize
Yeah.
how many photos I have of me in my creation out uniform back when I used to volunteer and work for them? Of me with mirror people, I've actually got a picture of me playing with toy phasers and posing with mirror people. Do you know how funny that is? It's funny.
But still, doesn't give them the excuse to act like morons in the hotel.
I've actually never seen that. They've actually really behaved themselves.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, that ladies that do have to depart, right? It's an interesting
Okay.
chat. And I'll see you all next time I get off of this jury duty.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Good
night.
night, Anthony.
Okay, so
I'm sitting here waving bye to him, even though the camera's on. Oh, I think chemo kills brain cells.
it's a beautiful thing, just having these memories and having these wonderful moments that we can look back on. This is why we need to appreciate classic Trek. I know people say that classic Trek is nothing now with all these new Star Trek things, but we really do need to appreciate classic Trek. I mean, some of it is somewhat controversial given the subject matter, but it's our choice how we want to watch Trek or not watch it, and everybody should be given the right to appreciate it how we want to appreciate it and enjoy being a Star Trek fan, right?
Well, I was on one of the TOS sites, and somebody said that they're not going to ever watch any of the quote unquote newer Trek, and they meant all the way back to Enterprise.
Oh, goodness.
And so my rebuttal to that was, without them, yeah, it was cheesy 60s technology. We understand that. But without the fight that they put up with to keep it on the air, despite all the hate, despite all of the producers and everything else that they struggled with, they are why we have newer technology shown, and why the Enterprise on Star Trek Enterprise was so much better. Why would you go back to 60s technology? I mean, I understand, because when it was on the air, I didn't watch it. I was kind of offended, but I thought about it, and I realized Roddenberry, if he had that technology, he'd have gone nuts. He'd have been thrilled. He'd have been so happy. So why is anybody having a problem with it? Because I think now, I was disappointed with Picard on the first episode of the first season because of all the bloodshed the first 10 minutes. I personally did not like that. But I'm not going to tell somebody who enjoys it not to enjoy it. I mean, come on. We should, what is our whole thing here is that we're a family of Trek fans. Why can't we let everybody in?
Well, you
I
know,
might not be able. Go ahead.
I think it goes back, I think we need to remember, as I was talking last week about, Pike's speech about how we all have this competition about our different ideas about what we love and what we like and what we should treat kindly and who we should treat kindly. We need to treat each other kindly and respect each other's ideas and be peaceful about each other's ideas and actually respect each other's ideas about what we feel is important, but we don't. We think we should all, like, each of us has a superior idea and we look down on each other because we don't want to compromise and love each other's ideas and love the diversity pool of ideas that we all have, because what the world is a diversity pool of ideas. If that makes
Definitely.
sense.
It does, definitely. But I think in the original series and The Next Generation, because that's where I started watching, it taught me more about accepting people who didn't think the same way that I did. I grew up in a really small town, and most everybody in the town thought the same way. And I think there's a good and a bad to that, because I didn't exactly grow up hating people that thought differently than me. I just didn't know there were that many ideas in the world. I remember I was in high school before I realized that the KKK still existed, and that there's actually a spot on the ballot for that. That shocked me. And I think
Yeah,
in a way
that's,
that it's good that I didn't realize that, because I just didn't know there was that kind of hate still.
well, there is. It's unfortunate. And Nichelle worked very hard. That's why she, like Dr. Martin Luther King, told her to not quit Star Trek, because her being on Star Trek was inspiring that fight for equality to keep going. And she was a
And
wonderful lady. She didn't think that her being on Star Trek meant anything at all. And she's such a wonderful inspiration. And that's why we've made such strides and will continue to make strides today, because she listened.
but I think about that often, how she was just ready to quit. And I can understand that desire. I don't like to confront either. But she was fighting every day to not fall into the background. She was fighting every day, and she did not realize what an inspiration she really was. But not just to Black people either. I think it had to be difficult, just reading her biography, and you know just knowing some of the things that she said. um
Yes. She
I,
was an
I
inspiration to Whoopi Goldberg.
exactly, and look how far Whoopi Goldberg is. I just think that we could learn a lot of lessons by looking at the original, by looking at The Next Generation, looking at Deep Space Nine and Enterprise. I mean, and Voyager. I mean, we consider those the quote unquote main captains from way back when. But just the progression of acceptance of not just actors and actresses, but I mean, look at the interest in the cons. We
Yes.
we as society, I think, learned a lot from what Star Trek, the original
We
series,
do. We have.
taught us.
But we've got a long way to go. We've got to understand that both old Star Trek and new Star Trek have a place in the Star Trek universe. I mean, we've got controversy because some of the older Star Trek actors, I won't say who, but if you've read the news and read Twitter and all this, they
Yes.
argue that some of the new actors and the new fandom would upset those who had a hand in creating the original fandom. And I don't think that's true at all, because each part of the fandom has its special place, and each part of the fandom is unique and special. And I've seen most of the fandom except for the animated series. May it rest in peace. But honestly, I think it's all special and unique, and I think it all has a story to tell, and we should just respect that fact. And I think it's beautiful, and it's a little piece of heaven for everybody who wants to give it a try.
Well, I think that New Trek has brought in people that would not have normally wanted to see a show from the 60s. And it has made them, some of them, say, let me see where this came from. And I think that's a great thing. Now, if us older folk could just get along with the younger, we'd be doing better.
Yes,
But
but all things will happen in their time.
well, I think I've gotten over the last 20 to 30 years, I think I've gotten more accepting. But I really do feel like it's great to see Gene Roddenberry's dream come true in a bigger way, because yeah, some flashing lights and buttons and things that go beep. I mean, in the 60s, that was cool. That was like mind blowing. And now we need to be more understanding of the younger people who that is cheesy. I get that. But if Gene Roddenberry had been able to do the things like he would have been able to do today back in the 60s, what, 68? Yeah, I mean, I really feel like if he could just get a glimpse of what we can do today in a studio, I think his mind would be blown. But I think it would be in tune with his dream. You know, I read his biography of him making a spaceship out of cardboard box and looking up at the stars and dreaming about man going out into space. So I think he would absolutely love it. And I've been telling people that, you know, you have what you have today because of what happened in the 60s. So we need to appreciate his dream and understand that he didn't have the green screens and all of the wonderful things that we have now. He couldn't do the things that he wanted to. I think they still pushed the limits of what you could do on TV. So
Yeah.
I think it would be great if we could kind of go into these new Trek groups and be like, hey, you like that episode? Well, you should see what was able to be accomplished back in the 60s. That would be a archaic version, if you will.
Well,
And
yeah.
and just share with them the original series, share with them some of the older Trek, and let them appreciate the advances.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And this episode I appreciate because it teaches us how we can make something out of nothing, like, impersonating darkness. It teaches us how to make the best out of a very unexpected, uncertain situation. And it also teaches us that we ourselves are in charge of our future. We are in charge of what we make of our lives, and we can build the future starting from where we're at. We don't have to go back to start again. We can start from where we are.
Exactly.
And we don't need anything fancy. We don't need much money. We don't need many people at all. All it takes is one person, us. All it takes is a change of heart and a change of mind. All we have to do is make the decision for ourselves. And all we have to do is want that better future. And all we have to do is our best to build it, one step at a time.
But I think we'll make it there. I mean, I really do think that we're going to have a starship named Enterprise.
And we've had ships named Enterprise. We've
I
had
know.
like rockets.
Didn't they name one of the space shuttles Enterprise?
I think they did. I'm not versed on NASA history.
Okay.
My son
feel
would
like-
know more than me on
I feel like that's true, and now I have to Google. So
Please Google, because I
carry
don't
on.
know.
Well, ever since we had the first ships on the ocean, we've had an Enterprise. And to me, that is just so wonderful. The intro, I never skip intros, even when I can. But the intro to Enterprise with all of the pictures from the first raft-like boats and wooden ships, and then the first submarines, and the first, all of these things, and shuttles launching. I love that. And I love the song. I don't care. A lot of people don't, but
Faith of the heart.
I think it is very fitting.
Well, it is, because faith is belief in the unseen, and that's what we're doing when we build our future. We are having faith in what we cannot see, but we believe to be there.
The only thing I'm upset about on Enterprise so far, I'm in the 4th season, about halfway through, a little more than halfway through. The number of times they almost killed Trip, I cannot take it.
Oh my God, I hate that.
I can't take it. He is just like my favorite. But
Yeah. He's my favorite too. I quasi binged the series recently. I hadn't seen most of it, honestly, and I finally said, okay, I'm going to do this. And to be fair, there was a bunch of episodes I fast forwarded through because I just could not get interested in the whole war with the Zindi. So anyways,
but I had to finish it.
well, that's fair, and maybe someday I'll go back and I'll actually watch everything. But my point is that at the end of that, I was like, Trip's my favorite.
I love it. I love how him and Malcolm just developed that closeness, because it reminded me of Miles and Julian so much.
Geordi and Data.
Jordy and Data. I mean, who creates a friendship with a robot android? I love it. Did you find your answer?
Yeah. I put a link to the Wikipedia entry for the Space Shuttle
so-
Enterprise into the chat.
That is so awesome. Thank you for doing that.
And it says that the eponym, which I assume means what something was named after, is well, okay, it says an eponym excuse me, is a person, a place, or a thing after whom or which someone or something is believed to be named. So I don't know for sure, but it does say that its eponym is the USS Enterprise NCC 1701. So it's possible that Star Trek fans working for NASA named it Enterprise after.
I think I read somewhere that weren't they actors present at the launch? I don't know.
Probably.
Well, most of them.
Surprised.
What was I going to say? I was going to say something else. Oh, you know, don't you, or I'll tell you if you don't, that Connor Trenier and Dominic Keating have a podcast called Shuttlepod Show, or just Shuttlepod,
Yes.
named after Shuttlepod 1, the episode where the two of them are stuck in a shuttlepod for the whole episode.
Yes, that shuttle pod is docked for the summer, unfortunately. So we
I
won't-
know, just like,
Well, I mean, they need a break too.
but
Yes,
I missed a bunch of them. I need to go back and watch before they start with more new stuff.
they're all on YouTube.
I know.
And in fact, I feel like I found, or maybe I found some episodes that weren't on YouTube on their website, or vice versa. Because I was watching them in order. I didn't learn of the podcast's existence until they had been putting out new episodes for a few months. So I was like, let me go back and watch everything in order. And I feel like there were, on whichever site I was originally watching them on, there was some episodes that were skipped for some reason. And I don't know why, but I found, if you don't find them on one, look on the others, is my point.
I
They're
will definitely
interesting.
do that.
I'll be right back.
they're interesting
Oh,
episodes.
But I love them so much.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, I believe they follow us on Twitter. And I think they're in our Facebook too.
I would love to see everything they've done.
I think they have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm subscribed to that.
Yeah, I've watched some of their episodes. They're actually quite entertaining. They have a professional studio and they sit around a table and talk. And I think they have a little game they play and they interview people. It's actually very
Yeah,
well done.
I love it. And since they're doing it out of pocket, I wish they would put like a link or something where people could help them pay for it, which would probably end up with more episodes.
They do. They have a Patreon account.
Which that
Yeah.
Patreon is a platform that artists and creators and writers and whoever use to fundraise for whatever their work is. And so at the front or end of many episodes, and probably as a single video on YouTube and or their site, they talk about their Patreon account. And in fact, I'm sure if you typed in Shuttle Pod and Patreon into Google, it'd come up. The
I
point
will have
is
to
you
try
can
that.
you can support their work through on the Shuttlepod show, specifically on that platform.
Awesome. I mean, I can't do a whole lot, but if a whole bunch of us do a little bit, it's got to be helpful.
Yeah. I mean, I'd do it for here, but maybe if we were a bit bigger.
I hope they get Scott Bakula and Jolene Blaylock to guest on the show. I hope that happens.
I mean,
That
they
would
got
be-
John Billingsley.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Linda
not-
Park too. I just feel like Scott Bakula might be less likely just because he's so busy. He's filming NCIS New Orleans or whatever he's on right now.
That's done.
And oh, it is?
Yeah.
No new episodes? Canceled?
No, it finished.
Oh, okay. And Jolene Blaylock, they said that she hasn't been terribly active since the end of Enterprise. She got married and had some kids, and I guess she just doesn't act anymore or whatever, and doesn't do publicity. But I hope she says yes to them.
I think she would probably be more likely to say yes to them. I don't know. Just my hope. Hopeful, wishful thinking, whatever.
Maybe.
But it's starting to get really painful to talk. So I think I'm going
Yeah.
to say goodnight too.
Yeah, so I will give some closing thoughts if that's okay.
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, as I've said before, This episode was all about how we can make the best out of unexpected situations and how the future, our future, is perfectly within our control, and we can make the best of everything. We can start from where we are and grow and progress and make wonderful things of ourselves, even if our pasts haven't been so great. We are the captains of our souls. We are completely in control of who we become, and our pasts do not have to define us, or our presents, or our futures. We are who we have the faith to become. And faith is belief in the unseen, and if we believe that we can become great, so shall it will be. And I love you all. Peace, love, and blessings. Live long and prosper. Health
Ditto.
and happiness to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good week.
You as well.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye. Thank you for coming to tonight's meeting. Live long and prosper.